Hi friends, welcome back to my studio. I'm Katie and we are halfway through 2023, which is crazy. So I thought now would be, well, not only are we halfway through, but it's also starting to be planner pre-order season. And so I thought now would be a good time to do my half-year thoughts on my planners and also talk about what I'm ordering for 2024 because as crazy as it is, like now is the time if you're doing one of these small shop pre-orders. So let's get into it. So in 2023, I used two different systems. One for home-based stuff, which is the B6 Common Planner, which I bought in half year, and you can see it got pretty chunky. Here's the new one. I haven't started yet. I have put my cover paper on. These two are the same because I love this paper, but this is like a faux leather one that stays with me all the time. This is going to be with this book. So it just happens that they're the same. So I used the half year B6 Common Planner, which at the beginning of 2023 was the only Common Planner available. Mine has the mauve covers, but you can't really tell that. And then the other thing I was using was at work, I was using a Planner Monkey Co. Hobonichi weeks sized notebook. This is the freely planned version, so it actually has monthly boxes in the first 24 pages, which I just wrote over. They're pretty light and I just wrote over them, and then once I got past that, it's just 4mm grid. And so I was using this as my work planner. This has about 200 something, why can't I remember, about 200 and something pages. It's got, if you're doing a week on 2 pages, then there's 2 years worth if you're not really using much in the way of notes. This is the spread I've been using pretty much this whole time. It's like a Hobonichi weeks style, but only for 5 days. So there's more room, A, because there's not the quote the way there is at Hobonichi, and B, because I'm only using 5 days of the week, and then I have non-day specific tasks and a place for notes. And then here I use washi when I remember, which is a good use of my washi, which I have a lot of. So this has been working really well for me all year. I like using my fountain pens in this Tomoe River notebook, and I've just been really pleased. I will say there's more space on this right page than I really need, but I'm getting a little antsy, and I don't have a good reason why. I just, am. It happens. So that's that. The B6 Common Planner, not antsy, really happy. No intention to change it. I'm going to do a full flip through of all like the decorated spreads in the next week or two because we're all done, but maybe I'll talk about the functionality really quickly. So in terms of things I did not use, I like these goal breakdown sheets, but I didn't use them for this current 6 months, and I'm okay with that. I didn't really use the quarterly page. I'm using this as an index, but I never stay on top of it, so I'm 2 months behind. So I'm not making huge use of these pages, but there has been a time in my life where this would be right up my alley, and I kind of expect that there is a time in my life where it will be right up my alley again. I just kind of have a little bit of like hustle culture, self-improvement fatigue, and so I'm trying to be really generous with myself about not really setting too many goals, to be honest with you. The weeklies, hit or miss. I had a couple months where I was tracking my no spend, and then some months I didn't use at all, and then one where I was checking fountain pens and then not again. And now I'm just like, just use the Tomoe River paper, just, swatch new inks when they come in or whatever. So the monthlies and I frequently don't get along, but that's fine. But I have been making frequent use of the weeklies. I change the layouts all the time. I really enjoy that. I will talk more about that in you can see my first half of the year flip through up there now and my second half soon. But really happy, working really well for me. And the same thing with the notes pages in the back. I love that they're not dated. There are some days where I do half a page. There are some days where I do 2 full pages. I, put some journaling on my vacation in here, and I had this space to really do that. Really happy. I had no intention, really. I mean, I was watching other planner releases. There were some that I might have been close to equally happy with, but I really love this planner. I really like Catherine of Sterling Ink's design aesthetic and the attention she puts in graphic design. I find that a lot of her other small shop competitors have good ideas, but maybe lack some of the graphic design finesse, which I realize is me being a font snob and stuff, but Catherine's is really good. I like it a lot. So when Sterling Ink was saying that their lineup for next year was coming out soon, all I really intended to buy was a replacement for this and possibly a Hobonichi style, but I was pretty much trying to convince myself that I still had a whole other year in this notebook and that I could hold off. What ended up happening is I'm still going to order a replacement for the B6 half year. I love being in the half year because I feel fine just totally chunking it up. And if it were twice that, it would just be enormous. And also because halfway through the year, it's fun to get a built-in refresh without having to have a whole planner crisis and wondering if I'm switching planners, whole systems or whatever. I just get to switch into a new book, and I really like that. What I had an inkling may happen, but totally did, is I fell in love with the passport size. I've been flirting with passport size for a couple months now, not really doing anything about it, but just admiring people on the internet who have them. And when I went on a recent trip to Europe, I made a little passport size traveler's notebook just for notes, just quick scribbles. I only used a page and a half, but I enjoyed having it available to me, and I just really love the size. I made it a little small, but really enjoyed the size. And so when the Sterling Ink video, which I will link, showed all of the planners for the upcoming year, there were 2 passport ones that she did. And I just really thought I liked it, and then I started messing with fake layouts to see if it would work for me, and I really fell in love. Having said that, we're talking 2 days here. It's infatuation. I've done some sample weeks, but I haven't actually lived with it for a week or anything yet. So what happened is I have a history of graphic design, and I have all of the skills and equipment to make a fake Sterling Ink planner. Now, I don't have the equipment to do the nice books. I don't really feel like printing and cutting all of the pages that are in a full one. I just made a little traveler's notebook. It's got something like 32 pages in it, just to play with. So I'm not selling these. I'm not giving them away to people. The intention here at all is not to take away sales from Sterling Ink, because I think that her graphic design is valuable and important and not something I'm looking to detract from. I am buying one of these, but it's easier to know that it's the right thing with a little bit of data, especially because the passport size comes in 2 versions. The vertical weekly, I should probably zoom in, this thing is so small. The vertical weekly and a horizontal one, which for that I just printed the notes pages, and I'll talk about that in a second. So I wanted to get a sense of how wide these columns are. I don't know the exact measurement of the boxes that she uses, but I have a pretty good guess based on what. So I don't think they're very far off, but not probably correct to the millimeter. But these columns are about 3/4 of an inch wide, which in metric it's probably something like 20 millimeters, I think, based on the math. Yeah, 20 millimeters. So I wanted to see what it was like to write in something like this, what kinds of pens, what kinds of materials, what I need, because it would definitely be a big transition from the Sterling Ink, where the columns are a little over an inch. So it's a substantial percentage bigger. And so, if I had to write with like so small that I was uncomfortable or unhappy, like that would mean that either the passport size or the vertical wasn't for me. The vertical is just divided in 4 sections on each side, and each one is 7 columns tall, like grids tall, which is about something like 28 millimeters. So that's actually quite a lot of space. If you are someone who likes to go horizontal. So the problem with horizontal in this circumstance is there are 7 to-do lists, but then you either need 2 lists, like 7 squares, so you do 7 like things across, and what I like about that is you can have multiple words in a row. That's something like the vertical is not very good at. But it's more width than I need. Now in my weeks, which is about the same width, I've dealt with that just fine by adding like the washi tape and stuff. And so, I could do that. The reason I didn't go for the horizontal is that I think the horizontal will be great for work. Except that I'd rather have it be 5-day focused rather than 7-day focused. And I could have done that just with the layout it was and used the other thing for notes. But horizontal layouts are really easy to draw yourself. I don't know if you can see my like pencil lines here, but here I've divided it. Here I've divided it on 4 on each side. I'm actually thinking I'm going to do 3 on each side. And so then I can have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then... No, that's not true. This is evolving. We're only 2 days in. I am going to do it the way it's printed. So I could just buy the horizontal and have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the Saturday and Sunday sections just together for notes and tasks. But as I said, the horizontal is really easy to draw myself in a way that like the vertical isn't. And so it's nicer to have that already printed. And so what happens is I'm recategorizing my planners. So the B6 is going to be my at-home situation. And these days already, it's mostly memory keeping and journaling. It's mostly things that have happened after the fact more than things I've planned ahead. There is some planning ahead, but not a ton. And I think that the B6 Common Planner will continue to be that. It will be my at-home journal, my place to store stuff, that I want to keep long term. And there will still be some tasks and stuff, but I can only reference it while I'm at home. I'm not carrying it around with me. I'm recategorizing my work planner into more of I'm thinking of it instead of a work planner as a not at home planner, on the go planner. And so there will be my work in there, but I'm also going to use this weekly for timed appointments, jotting down errands, whatever. So like here's a mock spread. I just put some washi here to block out some personal information, although it is cute up there. For the most part, I envision this as a pen and ink only kind of planner, although I think some washi will sneak its way in because I got a lot of washi. But here is my sample weekly where timed appointment kinds of things go in their time slots, tasks that are things that I kind of need to think about while I'm not at home. Although I've mixed and matched this. Right now I'm just playing, but the idea is tasks that I need to think about when I'm not at home. They might be things that happen at home, but don't have to. Online orders, stopping at the post office on the way back is a good example. Things that are happening at home while I'm not home, but I need to kind of remember that they're happening, like my CSA box, that kind of thing. And then in the sidebar, which, side note, if you are the kind of person who likes to do fancy lettering, you will know that as soon as you start thinking fancy, you start misspelling words. So, whatever. But not like full grocery lists, but like, oh, I need to run into this place on my way home and I just need gas and pancake mix and granola. Not my full meal planning. That's not going to happen here. I do that mostly digitally. But oh yeah, I need to remember to pick some things up. That kind of thing. Or also Happy Meal that's kind of on the way. That is how I'm thinking. Obviously, I haven't lived in it yet. So I don't know, but this is something I want to try. And because I want to try this, I want it to come pre-printed with the layout, because this is a challenging layout to hand draw in the graph pages. But because the planner it only comes out in the compact size, so that's all the monthlies, which I'm not sure I will use because I never do, but we'll see. All the monthlies and all the weeklies, but then it also comes with I don't remember, 100 and something notes pages. Definitely more than enough. I don't remember off my top of the head, but definitely more than enough for 2 pages per week. So what I'm going to do, and I set up this notebook in reverse, but what I'm going to do is do the weeklies like this for my kind of on-the-go sort of things, and then do my work stuff in the notes pages that's in the back, along the lines of the way I was doing the Hobonichi Weeks style, kind of bujo before, but here, again, horizontal, which works well for me for this layout and this task. And then it is smaller than the weeks. I think it will be fine. I think there's room to play with the layout if I'm not putting all the washi tape and stuff that I was. I think there will be enough room, but I just kind of got to figure out where it is. But 7 boxes is about the amount that I was using in the other one. I had access to a couple more, but 7 is pretty normal. I'll probably write the days across instead of having them go take up any of that space. I'll have them go up and down so that I can preserve that space. Although here, yeah, I can do them on the grid. And so that way that will take up some of my horizontal space, not any of my vertical space. And then I'll have the room. If this is too small, which it might be, this notebook is undated. I can go back to it. I can take a pause. There's no real consequence here, because if I like this and I'm using it and I stop using the notes pages for work, I haven't bought anything extra. I can just switch, like, not a big deal. So I think it's fairly low risk. It's a little unknown territory, but it's not a big, expensive notebook that has no additional options for me if what I intended it for doesn't work. It's really flexible. That's part of what I love about the common planners, because even if this like vertical doesn't work for me, that's another reason I went ahead and got the vertical. Then it's really minimal. Obviously, this one is my representation. The darkness of everything is not the same as what hers will be, but the numbers are so small, and so based on what I have seen in the pictures, the numbers are so small and whatever, it's easy to just write over them, ignore them, whatever. And so if this vertical doesn't work for me, the paper won't get wasted. I can still just write on it however it ends up working for me. If I want to switch it to horizontal, I can, and that's really nice. So that is what I'm thinking now for 2024. I will say that like 6 months is a long time from now, and it does feel a little uncertain to be making decisions now about what I'm going to want to do 6 months from now. The common planner, I've got a good track record on for the last 6 months, so I don't have a reason to think I'm going to want to change. But I am the kind of person who likes to change things. Usually I deal with that by just changing the layout and staying in the same book. But before this year, I've been a planner changer. And so I don't really know. And this is the first time that I'm pre-ordering. I had to buy the common planner on the secondary market in like December. So this is the first time I'm really in this position where it's 6 months ahead and I'm like pre-ordering something. So if you have any advice for how to live 6 months in anticipation, let me know. Fortunately, I'm able to reduce some of my anticipation a little bit with this little insert that I have printed and can print again if I need to. But I'm really looking forward to the real thing and when it comes, because, the build quality is much nicer than what I'm making here at home. I do have a whole system I'm coming up with for my everyday carry and my passport planner and the wallet that it's going in and whatever. That will come soon. I'm still in the midst of doing it, so I will make a video about that once it's ready, but I'm very excited about that. And I made this little planner like cover, and it's so soft and so pretty. Anyway, I'm just blabbering on now. Have you already chosen what you're using for next year? Does it intimidate you to make this decision so far ahead of time? Let me know. If you are placing a common planner order, tell me what that is. If you're holding off for something else or still understandably undecided, tell me about it. I'm really curious. I'll be chatting with you in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button, and we will talk again soon. Bye, friends.